Wow. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. I saw a thing on the paper and it reminds me of an incident many years ago.
Could we say good morning
Good
first?
morning. Wow. Good morning. I said, wow. This is a bright and sunshiny
Sunshiny
day.
day. I
Good
know
morning, Jamaica.
you want to sing. Good morning, good morning, good morning to all our Morning Connection family and friends. Good morning. We're coming to you as always from the, the station with the better music and the better vibes. I know you love that Jimmy Cliff song. So do I. We almost didn't come on. we were. We had to be reminded. But good morning to all of our faithful listeners, old and new. The new ones will become faithful.
Yeah, that's what's
Um,
happening here.
yeah, thank you so much for joining us. This is the Morning Connection with your hosts, Minute Lawrence and Percival Palmer. I have to find a name for us. What did you call us? The
The, dy-
something duo?
the dynamic
The
duo.
dynamic duo. Sounds like we're dying.
No,
I gotta find something
no,
more
no, no.
uplifting that don't start
The
with die.
uplifting duo.
The uplifting duo. But we're very pleased to join you this morning. Those who are online, those who are joining us on all the many platforms on which we are streaming. I think we're trying to start with Instagram. We are on Instagram this morning um, at the Morning Connection. All right. So Instagram welcomes us. Um, yeah, Pastor, I know you want to start with your story. Just go right into it.
In my story.
Yes.
I have many stories, but I was just looking at the front page this morning, and as the trial continues of the
Clansman.
Clansman gang. We're in
Yeah.
a clan together, you know.
Circle.
But yeah, man, Clansman gang. I see the gentleman. He's coming out and like he's greeting his followers. I, my people, I am here, and it reminds me of something that happened years ago. Some of us memories might be very short, but remember that uprising downtown because they had taken an alleged strongman into custody, and the people were ready to take it to everybody, and they said he comes out, and he said
The police had to bring him out.
yes,
Yeah, because he was
and then he
incarcerated.
comes out and he says, "My people,
Stood on the balcony.
go home,
Mm-hmm.
leave this thing alone." But yeah, but my people perish for lack of knowledge. But there's a knowledge I want to introduce this morning. Um, it says that he said, God in speaking to, I think it was the children of Israel. I'm trying to find the exact text, and it says, I am the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I know you could understand God being the God of Abraham, who was the man who God says, no, I swear by myself, I've never seen such faith in the earth. And then, of course, Isaac, because Isaac was a miracle child. But Jacob was a schemer and a cheat and all of those things. It just brings to my mind the fact that he is the God who understands us. And when we fall down and we figure that we cannot get up back again, he reminds us that he's the God of the imperfect people. And I just want to remind somebody out there, don't be stuck in what has happened in the past. Be focused on what is happening in the present, because what you do in the present will affect your future in terms of the decisions that you make. So he's still your God. He just wants to remind you that he's a faithful God and he's with you through everything that you go through. But if you focus on him and what he is about to do in your life, because he's a God who is also a restorer of all of the things that have gone bad, have gone south, as some people say, in your life. That's what he's doing. He is still your God, and he works with your imperfections. Reminds me of David. I like David. David was a man after God's own heart. Say, you mean the man was a murderer and an adulterer? Do you know that if God were like us in how we treat each other, we'd be in serious problems, What do you think about that, Sister Minette? What do you think? Yeah, you have to say, what am I talking about this morning?
No, Pastor, catch me. I wasn't paying him any attention.
That's all right. Me used to that stage.
What you used to?
Used to being
What
your
you used
friend.
to? Me not paying attention, or just people not paying attention?
Some of the times you're not paying attention. That's all right.
Oh, dear Lord. Yes, we do it to each other.
Yes.
While he's talking, I'm setting up, getting ready to do my bit.
Mhm.
And sometimes while I'm talking, he's doing the same thing.
Right. So that's why I'm gonna lick you too hard. Because I
Yes,
know
that's
I
true.
am
Well, then
done
you
that
see,
too.
you asked the question,
Yeah.
how would we fare if God treated us the way we treat each other?
Yeah.
Well, if he treated us the way you and I treat each other, we'd be okay.
Okay. Because
Um,
we love each other.
but absolutely, and you see, you forgive me for being inattentive and then for laughing about it. But maybe we're not the ideal subject because there is love,
Yeah.
and it explains too why he was able to say of David, David is a man after his own heart, because God's heart is a heart of love,
Yeah.
and David
It's rooted in that.
would
Yeah.
always return to that setting,
Mhm.
regardless of how he strays. And it's one of the reasons why, despite the many complaints and criticisms that the Bible endures
Mhm.
throughout time, it remains my favorite piece of literature, book of inspiration, book of
Principles for living.
spiritual guidance, because it does not seek to present itself as the picture perfect story
No, man.
of either God or man,
Mhm.
or the relationship between the two of us. So I like it because of that. You find in it all of the
All the drama.
all the unpleasant
You know,
things
it would be a good
that-
reality show.
well well, many people have taken bits and pieces of it and done
Reality shows.
right,
Yeah, man.
right,
Yeah, man.
with to great effect.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So that's what it is. I
Yeah.
was just
Thank you
Exodus
for warming
3
up the
6.
spirit.
Exodus 3 and verse 6.
Let's have it before we do the break.
Yeah. I am the God. That's what I was just quoting when he says,
Oh,
I
so
am
you
the
did
God.
quote it already.
Yeah, the God of.
The three generations.
Then he says,
and
I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. But the person was just in the thing that they sent to me, the God of Jacob. Jacob was really a character,
All right, we'll contemplate him while we take the break. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. This is the Morning Connection.
What should a taxi service do for you? On-Time Taxi Service is more than just a ride to the other side of town. They offer clean and spacious vehicles, reliable service, and promise to always look out for their customers. They'll come when you call and take you where you want to go on time.
You can call us on 926-3866.
We are something special on the road.
The station that makes you feel good.
I love the station. I think it's great.
My station.
Moving.
This is my station.
Moving. Moving. Keep it right here. Keep it right here.
Fast FM, keep listening.
There will be days when you're too tired to move, to drive, but you think you have to because your vehicle won't wash itself, right? But no, you don't have to visit a car wash. 123 Mobile Car Wash will come straight to you. Yes, you heard right. 123 Mobile Car Wash is offering services in Kingston and St. Andrew and St. Catherine. We shampoo and detail cars, trucks, offices, and more. No job too small. Call us at 876-631-3400. 123 Mobile Car Wash. We come to you.
Live the life. Respect the music. And keep your radio locked in.
The best 100 FM. half a tree, one and drive, half a tree. Bossy, how you do I take taxi star?
Jano, I want to tell you, say, at 2 months now, my transmission mash up, and I check everybody and can't hear nothing positive.
You hear me? You waste all that time I shop around and never call the experts. Winters Auto have them. Them have over 35 years of experience and them diagnose the problem and get back your transmission brand new. For them service excellent and efficient. Trust me, man. You hear me? Call them at 929-7040 or go to them at 106 Maxfield Avenue, Kingston 13 and talk directly to the boss. Just tell them I'm me, send you.
You big star. Yeah, man, respect my boss.
Yeah, try calling, cause trust me.
Waiters Auto Spares and Repairs, good afternoon.
Ah, what a relief.
Veteran Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Haggard Park Road. Veteran Printers, your best choice in printing.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Good morning and welcome back to the Morning Connection. I would like to start this segment by saying happy birthday to our son, Daniel.
Oh, today is Daniel's birthday.
Today is Daniel's birthday. He is all of 15 years old. He's not listening to this program. I feel no pain because of that. Well, many would say, but it's too early. The boy should still be sleeping. But the truth is, he gets up quite early. Once we are heading out, he's up, and we were able to pray with him this morning and
bless him
sing happy birthday at the appropriate pitch and tone, given the hour of the morning.
Oh Lord.
He is the sweetest, most adorable child to me, which I think every parent,
every mother would say,
feels that way about their kids. And I fully understand what it means to kind of, have the heart of love. And because it is Child's Month as well, I feel especially sentimental about him this morning. I am grateful that I have had the opportunity to parent flesh of my flesh.
Bone of your bone.
You parent many, but I think and just the experience of dealing with a child that is of your own body reinforces your own concepts of love and respect and loyalty. And it has been, my experience with him has been one of the things that keeps me on point with my own walk of faith and integrity, because I know in my heart that the way I feel about him and the things I would do for him, I will do it for your child. I do it for others, coming from the same place of love and respect. I knew that about myself before I had Daniel, but you always wonder if when you have your own child, you would show preference. You always wonder if when you say you love another child, if the love would be any different, for your own. It's different and it's not different. I would say maybe the love you feel for your own child is a little scarier because you are always concerned about their health, their well-being, the loss of the child, how you would handle one situation of trauma or another. Whereas another person's child, you can say, oh God, I would not want to experience what that mother or that parent is going through. There's that separation because you don't have to take home that grief. On the front page of today's Gleaner, the headline is 20-year-old mom found dead. Her 6-month-old baby, is it 6-month-old? Yes. Her 6-month-old daughter was found in the crib. The child was unhurt, but they could surmise had not eaten since her mother died. That is such a painful. I know I've segued from happy birthday to Daniel into mourning the loss of this young girl and the tragedy of her own child lying in the same room, probably crying incessantly until it stops when no one responds.
That is trauma, you know. In
This
terms of
for the child,
attachment
yes,
very early,
yeah.
because those years in terms of a caregiver are very crucial. Not even years, the months. And when that happens, it reflects later on in life in terms of how children respond to care and different people in their lives because of the insecurity that breeds from that. Because when a child cries, it is indicated, it indicates something out of whack. And when them cry, 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 not response after a time, in their brain, they become wired in a way that says nobody don't really care about
Yeah,
me.
my crying is meaningless,
Yeah,
or
because
I'm
that,
invisible,
yeah, yeah. So it's
not heard, not
important.
seen, not responded to. But at 6 months, we know. You know, I tell you, these are the moments when my faith is my refuge and my point of strength. Because if I did not believe that God exists and that He exists outside of the ordinary behaviors and temperament of man, I would despair.
Wow.
Because how do you reverse the impact of those things? Only God.
Only God. Only love.
Because just imagine that this child, this baby will hear the story of how her mom's body was in the room with her and she was there for 2 or so days. Um, no response, no one caring for her. She's gonna hear that story, and over time, that story is going to mean different things to her. At one point, it will become a story of survival, but there's a point at which it will be a story of neglect and suffering. To change her perception on that is going to be a work of love, and as we were saying earlier, the heart of love is the heart of God.
I like how you say that.
Which one?
It's redeemed by love.
Yes.
The heart of love.
Yes, yes.
And they have discovered in a very significant way how important it is. Actually, they've actually done research that has proven that even for children like that, if they are put into an environment that is very caring, loving, it begins to reverse a lot of the things that would have gone wrong for that child. So even as we continue to celebrate Child's Month, yes, the theme is listen up, listen up, listen up as the children speak. And today, the focus is on each day. There's a calendar that they've put out. So encourage your child to read as we celebrate Child's Month. Encourage your child to read. I remember growing up, reading was my getaway, my getaway point. I would be immersed in books. Finish doing my chores, can't find me. Oh, and they say, "Where's Junior?" That's my family name. Where's Junior? Him in the room, look under the bed, him there reading a book or something like that, and I just remember that it was good for me in terms of widening my frontiers. Nowadays, you have the internet and you can Google stuff. The only thing we had were books and the library. So I was an avid reader, and I would have a lot of these books, one after each other, just reading and devouring what was in the books, and that's how you learn to think critically. And then you go to places. I remember going to Canada, and when I visited Australia later on in life, they were taking me on a tour, and I'm saying, "This is here," and I said, "You've been here before." I said, "No." It was
read about it.
Read about it, and now you see it happening right in front of your very eyes. So we encourage our children to read, to explore, and with the internet and social media, read critically so you can discern and decipher what is being said, and don't believe everything you read on social media and so on. Yeah, that's something that we have to do. So happy birthday, Daniel, and happy birthday, Daniel. Happy birthday. Yes, yeah, the gentle giant, I call him.
Yeah, so usually on my birthday I celebrate my mom because it's two of us.
Yeah, your mother have the same birthday?
No, but she's the partner in the birth.
God have mercy.
Where would I be if she did quit
Jesus.
or have an unproductive?
Every day she introduced one new concept in the that is that is it, you know. Oh my Lord,
But
have
it is
mercy.
true.
Yes.
She's proof that I was born on a particular day at a particular time. And she tells me she remembers the day and the time. It was around 3 p.m. The kids were coming from school. I was at home delivery.
I was too.
And okay, and that's how come I kind of track the way prenatal care is handled in like rural districts. That's why yesterday I was saying to you, I know it is not as it used to be.
That's true.
The nurse and the midwife, by the time the nurse, who is also the midwife, got to the house, I was already out and looking around. Yeah, I was.
Not me,
Yeah.
but
It was in July, so it was not me.
So I was born at home too, and my mom recalls that she went to work because she was a civil servant. She was on her feet the day of my birth, and she went home. I was born, yes.
All right.
I was delivered by a midwife also, you know.
Yeah. So you didn't complain that your parents did cheap. Why they never go to hospital?
That was not the
I
thing.
complained. I said, everybody has hospital. What happened? No budget for me? Number 3.
Really, no, man.
Later in life.
You understood what it was, yeah.
You know, it's. Let me tell you, it is in this time and age now. Being born at home is considered, you know,
novelty.
Not a novelty, the thing.
The thing, yeah. Yeah,
Yes,
because a new thing is a new fad.
Right.
It's a new fad.
But in those days, it's like you'd live too far from hospital. Hospital birth was, you know, what decent, caring parents did. They pack the bag and jump in the car and arrive at the yes, not necessarily your car.
the district car.
Right. And you're delivered at a hospital. Daniel was delivered at the hospital, but he was delivered by way of C-section. He's the child that Shakespeare spoke of. You know, the child that is born of a woman, but how was it put in Shakespeare that described Hamlet? In Hamlet.
I don't remember.
Not Hamlet. But anyway, it will come back to me.
Yeah, but I count it a privilege.
Yeah.
To have been present at all of my 3 children's birth. Actually, in the room.
Yeah.
The delivery room there.
Yeah.
I was there.
You didn't faint?
Faint, power. Yeah, I remember my first child.
You were curious?
No, it was just something that was there, and each of my children's birth was kind of different. Daniel, that's the oldest, was born right. I remember it because I was between the delivery room and there's a hole in here where the mothers who are waiting were in labor and so on. So there's a TV there, and I was watching the TV because guess what? And what was it? It was the election 1997. And she was born, I remember distinctly, she was born just as they started to call the election in terms of the results were coming.
All right, let me remind you of the quote from Shakespeare before someone else calls to remind us. Macbeth was told by the witches, "Beware Macduff, beware the thane of fire, the power of man, for none born of woman shall harm Macbeth."
Okay.
Referring to not the process of natural childbirth, but Macduff was delivered by C-section.
Okay.
So he was not born of a woman in the traditional way. Yeah. So, so Daniel is like Macduff, not born of a woman.
He was born of a woman, but not the natural way.
Jesus, I was trying to tell him on Sunday, and he looked horrified. I said, "You know what a C-section is?" He says, "Yes, Mom." And
you did?
We were taught. Yes. Listen, at 15 years old. If you have done any Shakespeare, you should know what a C-section is.
Oh,
Julius Caesar. Caesarean section. Anyway, we were talking on Sunday. We were talking about the separation of spirit and body,
Mm-hmm.
and that your body can be enduring an experience which your while your spirit is doing something else.
Mm-hmm.
It's because, interestingly, Lowell shared with us a testimony from a man who spoke of having died by
see.
drowning. Well, it happened to him while he was 14 years old. He dived into a lake to save a floundering 13-year-old,
Okay.
and the child clocked him in the head, and he lost consciousness and sank to the bottom of the lake. And while he was at the bottom of the lake, he had an experience that seemed to have taken 10 hours. But it really was just a split second of, maybe a minute at the most, because he came to and was able to bring himself back to surface and complete the rescue mission. So it can't have been a long time. But he spoke of many things happening. All the while, he was unconscious at the bottom of the lake. So how it is that his mind was going through all these various things while his body was enduring trauma in a hostile environment. So we spoke about in our devotion, we spoke about the fact that man has, through medical science, created chemicals that can sever the mind-body connection, so that your body is undergoing an experience and you are watching, but you don't feel it, you don't respond to it.
Psychotropic drugs?
No, I did not receive psychotropic drugs for my C-section.
I'm just talking about the impact of psychotropic drugs on people's life.
We're gonna get to that.
Yeah, really.
That's way more fun.
Yeah.
But when I started to talk about, you could feel your body, you could, like, there's a tugging and a nudging, but you're not feeling the pain. And I said, they had cut open my body. Oh my Lord. You're like, no, mommy, no.
No, don't go into the gory details. Yes.
Yeah. But that's the reality. And you mentioned psychotropic drugs, of which cannabis fits the mold, and there
LSD.
is but some offer different. I never want to ever again speak of cannabis in the same breath as LSD and heroin and what is the other? Cocaine. Right. Largely because lumping cannabis with those what they call them class A drugs has been a part of the victimization of people through a plant, or a plant to get to
people, but
abuse of people.
But
because
LSD is something that happens chemically, mean they bring things together and do it. Whereas
it's not organic.
It's not organic. Whereas cocaine come from the cocoa plant, which is the other one we mentioned. Heroin from another plant, because that is...
It's from opium?
Opium, yeah. So, but you will take the cannabis.
Yeah.
Just smoke it naturally.
And it is how you spoke about David being a man after God's own heart, but David himself being capable of such great what is the word to call it now? So real corrupt behavior, because
that's what it was, because he broke.
So it is in nature that there are plants and things, gifts in nature, that if you use them in a certain way, they corrupt and harm the body. But there are others which, no matter how you use them, they will not harm the body. Though, of course, man can, under the influence of it, or man can use it as an excuse, or it emboldens the spirit to go in directions that are best left alone.
When we had that discussion last month in terms of psychotropic drugs, some of the times the truth is, and those of us who have experienced and interacted with people, it opens you up to some of the things that, if you are not careful, will destroy you. And just enough said about that, because we can't go into details. So we have to be very, very careful in terms of anything that we introduced to our bodies, which is not natural to the body.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yesterday we were talking about boundaries.
Yes.
As we looked at raising children and how much freedom is too much freedom and so on.
And it continues on.
And the use of psychotropic drugs to remove boundaries that allow for unhindered movement between realms of consciousness.
Be careful.
When those boundaries are removed, the things that you hold at bay through mental discipline can now, the good and the bad flow together. Let's put it that way.
That's what happens.
Which is the point that you're making, and it is one of the things that, as parents, we who have some greater wisdom on how the mind is constructed, or how spiritual realms are constructed,
And where they
we
operate.
have to be the ones to teach or to transfer that knowledge, so that when our children are caught in situations that challenge, that test the boundaries, they can understand the importance of maintaining certain boundaries. So, I mean, for example, peer pressure is one of the methods that, or one of the tools to test the boundaries. Peer pressure is something that, if I tell you I've experienced it 10 times in my life, is plenty. Largely because I'm not geared towards being influenced by the opinions of others, unless those persons are within a very trusted group.
True.
So I'm not someone who, I'm walking on the road and some random person said, honestly, if some random person were able to say, "Lady, why you look so?" or something like that, I might not even hear it. I'll be honest with you. It's just, but if someone whom I know and whom I trust makes a comment about something, then I will take that on board. But my boundaries are such that I'm not open to the influence of persons who don't qualify.
Okay.
And that's something that you
But
also
e-
try
but
to
teach
teach.
our
Yeah.
children. Because yesterday we had introduced Erickson's psychosocial stages.
Yes.
And he was a step up from Freud in terms of, Freud focused on the sex, but he looked at psychosocial, which means how the soul interacts with what happens around you. And even as you speak about it, we were talking about there are 8 stages. First year of life, trust versus mistrust, which is with the baby. That's what we were alluding to, the fact that, the 6-month-old. And we pray and we declare that even in terms of what happened to her, it will not harm her. The trauma that she would have suffered would not affect her. And then there's a second year, autonomy versus doubt. Third through the 5th year, initiative versus guilt. 6th year to puberty, and puberty normally ends at about 10, 11. Industry versus inferiority. And then when what you just spoke about, the peer pressure really kicks in terms of adolescence, identity versus confusion. And so we just have to be careful. I tell people all the time, with all the things that your youngster goes through in this time, they need to understand in their transition years, which is adolescence years for many of them, that their parent loves them unconditionally. And I have found, this is my experience, that when you have relationship, I think in our very first, and yeah, we spoke about relationship. When you have established a relationship with your child in those early years, they'll always come back to you. When they know in their home, which is what you spoke about in terms of the international rights of the child, that the preamble spoke about a family that is loving and caring, they'll always come back. That is why the word of God said, train up a child. Train up a child.
And that is why the prodigal son said, I will arise and
go back to my
return
yard.
to my father's house.
Yes, yeah.
So I'm going to switch a little bit on your, Pastor Percival,
That's all right.
because I have like 4 or 5 issues that
from
came
last
up
week.
from that I want to pull into our consciousness as we are navigating these times. The first one I'm going to look at has to do with it not
$100
in
million.
Jamaica. It's Harvard, the well-known Ivy League university of the great American neighbor. Harvard went through a process of studying the impact of slavery and trying to find their right position on the business of reparations or reparatory justice. They have acknowledged themselves as a leader in the area of academics and research and social
Justice.
social justice. Nice one. And so I wouldn't say they have led the charge. Other universities are doing it, but they have come out and acknowledged
Put their money where their mouth is.
that slavery had an impact of such that they need to make reparations. And the end product of this inquiry into the impact of slavery and their role in it resulted in them creating a $100 million fund. And
US.
as Pastor jokingly said, what did you say again? 100 out of how much billions?
53 billion endowment.
They have an endowment of $53 billion. So one might say 100 million is hardly anything of note. But perhaps in their defense, they will say, we only had 70 slaves.
Only 70 slaves they had?
Only 70. Yeah. But I want to, it's significant to me for a number of reasons. One is, we say here that until certain institutions in society come to a right position on the issues of human rights and reparatory justice, humanity itself will not move forward in a progressive way. We have a saying that when, like, if one black person or another do something, we say it set back the whole race of black people. Well, there are some issues that are so fundamental to the progress of humanity that if those issues are not treated in the right way by all of us, and of course, I mean the great majority of us.
Yeah. They'll never get everybody.
They won't get everybody, and some going to die before you catch them. But critical institutions in society need to come to a right position on a number of things. We will not move forward. So to see Harvard as an established leader coming to a position on this matter, that is very much a positive thing, because Harvard, with the support that it has both historically and projected in terms futuristically, I borrowed that one from Maxine. Good morning, Miss Maxine. With the position that they hold, for them to come out and say, we participated and benefited from slavery, and we must make atonement.
Okay.
Is a good step forward.
When you read the history of Harvard in terms
Yes.
of how they dealt with black
I'm being
people and
given the signal
eugenics.
for the
break.
But I want to say this before I go. In the years before the Civil War, the color line held at Harvard, despite a false start toward black, the color line was held despite a false start. In 1850, they admitted 3 black students, but after a group of white students and alumni objected, Sir Oliver Wendell Holmes expelled them, and it took 100 years before Harvard admitted
1950.
another black student. Yeah.
They were ahead of the game in terms of saying, but not around with the people.
They started, but a few objected, and they balked at it and expelled the students, and it took them 100 years before they would open the doors again. Let's take our break.
Probably should pay $2 billion.
You think it should be more?
Best FM 100 on your dial. Keep listening.
Any good contractor will tell you, the difference between a solid structure and a feeble one is quality building materials. That's why it's important for stakeholders in the sector to be aware of and understand how to apply its relevant standards being used across the construction sector. To provide an avenue for stakeholders to learn the standards is the reason the Bureau of Standards Jamaica BSJ established its Quality Institute. Today, Manager Communication and Customer Service at the BSJ, Maxine Fagan, tells us about the training programs offered at the institution for members of the construction industry. The Quality Institute is the training arm of the Bureau of Standards Jamaica BSJ. Its mandate is to offer training courses in the standards related to several industries. In recent times, however, the Institute has been urging stakeholders in the construction industry to take advantage of its courses, outlining the standards for various elements of the sector.
In terms of training specific for the construction sector, or industry, we have trainings such as the JS35 standard for hollow concrete blocks, training on the JS124 standard for aggregates for concrete, and the JS33 standard for hot rolled steel bars for the reinforcement of concrete. All of the materials must be safe for use in construction, and this is, of course, emphasized in these training programs.
Manager Communication and Customer Service at the BSJ, Maxine Fagan. Ms. Fagan says the training programs are offered in a variety of ways, including face-to-face at the BSJ or online.
So we have our in-plant offerings and pre-COVID. So we have training rooms on site at the QI. And so various industry players, we have our postings on our website in terms of the trainings that we're offering. And we offer a number of trainings per quarter. So persons may visit the website www.bsj.org.jm and click on the Quality Institute tab to see the list of trainings that we are in fact offering.
She adds that the programs are very hands-on and relatable to make sure participants grasp the information readily.
We walk you through the standard so you understand the content of the standard and you understand how to apply the standard. We will also take you out in the field. So we'll actually take you to a site that they're making concrete blocks. So you have the opportunity to see the best practice, what is expected, and how you should be applying those that knowledge. So you have the opportunity to see how the blocks are constructed. You have the opportunity to see the desired material that is needed in that construction. And you also would have the opportunity to observe the testing of these blocks.
Ms. Fagan says the overall benefit of knowing and understanding the standards is to improve the quality of goods and services offered to consumers in Jamaica.
The value of training certainly cannot be overemphasized. And at the QI, or the Quality Institute, we really promote standards, training in standards, because we want to facilitate a culture where standards are recognized as important, and to have businesses recognizing the importance and going that extra step to utilize standards in their business operations.
She's urging business practitioners to check out the various courses offered by the Quality Institute to ensure their operations match up to the highest standards and are in the best position to achieve growth and prosperity.
So engaging with the services of the Quality Institute at the BSJ, you have the opportunity to get that intimate insight into what the standard requires, the content of the standard, how to apply the standard in your organization. And as I said, every single organization, once you're serious about business and putting out a quality product or service, but you want to ensure that you have that solid foundation. You want to ensure that you have the framework in place to facilitate what it is that you wish to put out to your customers.
Manager Communication and Customer Service at the BSJ, Maxine Fagan. For more information about the training, visit www.bsj.org.jm or call 876-926-31406.
A production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
What should a taxi service do for you? On-Time Taxi Service is more than just a ride to the other side of town. They offer clean and spacious vehicles, reliable service, and promise to always look out for their customers. They'll come when you call and take you where you want to go on time.
From anywhere at all, you can call us at 926-3866.
We are something special on the road.
Vijam Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Haggard Park Road. Vijam Printers, your best choice in printing.
Praise the Lord, praise the Lord. God is good. This is your radio pastor and friend, Reverend Simon Peter Jones, inviting you, my friends, to listen every Tuesday evening on Best 100 FM at 7:30 p.m. for the program, The Voice of Hope, as we extend hope to the hopeless in this dying world. God is good. Be encouraged. Hope is in the Lord.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Good morning and welcome back to the Morning Connection. Thank you very much for staying with us. Morning, Mr. Brown. I see your request for a song.
I know the song.
You know the song?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What
Your
is
love.
it? Please play Yabi. You deliver me from mine enemy.
Your
All right,
love.
consider it done. We hunt it down. When you find it, let me know, please, Mr. Engineer. And Conrad was saying no sound. You saw that?
It should be back now.
Okay. All right, Conrad. Good morning to you. I hope.
Good morning, our international journalist. Nothing to report.
And quality control.
Yes. What's happening?
And good morning to you, Mr. Brown. All of you on the live chat, give us a shout out. And thank you for being there. All right. So we were talking about Harvard and their act of atonement. Pastor said they should have done $1 billion.
No,
but you know, it's a start.
2
billion. Oh, I'm so sorry,
2
sir.
billion, 2 billion, 2
Yeah.
billion.
Are
there a lot of persons here who have gone to Harvard in Jamaica and they have alumni association? Probably they can push too.
Yes, for more to be
For
done.
more to be done.
So this account of the university's entanglements with slavery and its legacies focuses on connections, impact, and contributions in the following categories: ownership of enslaved people, presence of enslaved people on campus, financial ties to slavery, intellectual leadership, and vestiges of slavery and resistance to racial oppression during the early 20th century. So those are the categories. And I think Harvard is creating a blueprint, can be tweaked and so on, but they are creating a blueprint on how you can look at and analyze the impact of slavery. Yes, Conrad, we hear you. Harvard must pay more. You're right there with Percy says $2 billion. They're sitting on a trust and an
53
endowment
billion.
fund of $53 billion. How much of that really should go towards reparatory work in not just their immediate academic environment, but clearly they have impact. They have whole world impact.
Everybody.
Yes.
If you say go to Harvard, everybody looks at you.
Absolutely.
You know, our friend
Yeah.
Michael went there though.
Which Michael is that? Oh, Aiken.
Yes.
Ah, good morning, Michael. Yes, so all their famous alumnus should write home and say, I think you could do this or that. Some of the things that they admit being responsible for from the mid-19th century well into the 20th, Harvard presidents and several prominent professors, including Louis Agassiz, promoted race science and eugenics and conducted abusive research, including the photographing of enslaved and subjugated human beings. These theories and practices were rooted in racial hierarchies of the sort marshaled by proponents of slavery and would produce devastating consequences in the 19th and 20th centuries. Records and artifacts documenting many of these activities remain among the university's collections. Research to advance eugenic theories also took place on campus, and they make specific mention of some activities. They conducted physical examinations, anthropometric measurements, and the photographing of unclothed Harvard and Radcliffe students. Archives documenting Sargent's activities remain among the university collections. Of course, academia was right there, just the way we recognize the church's involvement in reinforcing some of the philosophies and the principles that made it possible for man to oppress black people in this way. The academics were right there, trying to bond scientific theories around the notion that black people were somehow inferior and ideally better suited for abuse and slave labor than other races. Oh, sure. You go ahead.
The study of how to arrange reproduction within a human population to increase the occurrence of heritable characteristic regarded as desirable, developed largely by Sir Francis Galton as a method of improving the human race. Eugenics was increasingly discredited as unscientific and racially biased during the 20th century, especially after the adoption of its doctrine by the Nazis in order to justify their treatment of Jews, disabled people, and other minority groups. So they're trying to make the race better. Remember the Aryan race?
Yes, the Aryan race, the perfect race. But, you know, it is that, oh gosh, we're gone back to the man of God's own heart. It starts with the not undesirable objective of wanting children who had all the characteristics that you would say queue them up for phenomenal success.
Right.
You want your child to be bright, academically brilliant. You want them to be physically gifted. You want them to run the fastest, throw the farthest, have stamina and endurance like no other. And you begin to look at the different racial groupings to see who has what. And then you begin to try and create. Yes, it's breeding. You breed the right horse.
Breed the right
or the right cow or the right. So
and
there's nothing.
Today, no,
of course,
it is present. It has come back in transhumanism with
and
human
you,
2.0.
And you also want the best out of your crops. You want the soil to yield the best results. There is nothing wrong in wanting the highest level of productivity from anything that you're undertaking. So it starts with that noble objective of wanting the best. Then you begin to cross the line, because the first thing you begin to see the economic gain that can be made from pursuing this over that. And then you begin to attach your own, what is it now, carnal objectives?
Yeah, and it goes against created in the image and likeness of God. Yeah.
And then after that, now you lose control.
You say God no know right. Do, so yeah.
And we struggle, we weep and we grieve with the parents whose children come out, you know, with one or other
Down syndrome, those kind of things.
Defect that you know will be a challenge for that child to. I mean, let's not be romantic or be naive. We don't want our children to be born less than normal. Just give me a plain normal 10 finger, 10 toes, a head that is not too big. I mean, you know, be honest. I remember at my baby shower, they did a game there was some game about what traits people hoped that the baby would take from the different parents.
And it was funny.
It was funny. I mean, it really was. But to hear them say, "Oh, we hope that he gets Lowell's eyes because Lowell have this eye
dreamy
color.
Eyes.
He has brown eyes or gray eyes or eye color. You must listen, Lowell. Are you the producer? You're not." He'd look around and say, "I trouble." Right. So some people said, no, we want them to have, the baby should have Lowell's eyes. And somebody said, no, Minette's eyes are.
I
And
bet
then
it was
you begin to hear all that your friends think and your family think. Some said you should have her smile. And as it turns out, the child does look like me.
okay.
What say you? You've met him.
Yes, if you said it was in Jamaica, you stamp your baby.
Yes, yeah, or you spit him out.
Yes.
So yeah, it was fun to hear a person saying. Then some. I wanted him to have Lowell's height. Well, boy, does he ever!
Yeah.
At 15, he's almost. I mean, he's like
Tall.
about 5'11", going 6 feet.
He's tall.
And he's only 15. And then I want him to have my musculature. I have a more compact muscular frame. Lowell is lean, but I wanted him to to look like a solid young. So you have
Want
these
him look
ideas.
like a real stud?
Pastor, he's 15. Don't say that word.
I haven't said that. Because that's what it was about, you know.
But you get my drift.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want your child to have the different traits that you think
best one.
would have him
So-called
stand
best.
tall
Yeah,
and
man.
right. But then
But that's what they did in slavery.
that
They were
is what they were
breeding
doing.
them.
Absolutely. The Mandingo
male.
males.
Yes, man.
Black Mandingo.
Yes.
Right. So yeah, you can't look at the excess of it
Mm-hmm.
without truthfully acknowledging that it always begins with an idea that is not necessarily itself destructive.
That's
But
the
then
ethics of it that
the
it goes.
ethics of it, the heart of the men and women who are doing these things, and if I were to say, that is perhaps the greatest challenge that people have with science, because for science to succeed in any objective, it has to be amoral. What say you?
It has to be immoral, but it never is that because it's like a gun. A gun can't shoot anybody. It's a person behind the gun. So that's what it is.
Yeah. So the science, the technology
Nothing wrong
has
with it.
no morality.
Mm-mm.
It is perfect in its own existence. And
Mhm.
somebody's going to write and tell me that math is the perfect science. Numbers don't lie, have no skin in the game.
Mhm.
But what you do with it. And so the heart.
But they use numbers
comes in.
to let's not get into
Yeah, but you're right. You
statistics
said they
here.
use.
They use it.
Yeah. So let's get to
Another
a
one.
number, a statistic that's been published, which is an indictment on our society. We just have to decide what is it really saying. Jury shortage.
Mhm.
I think on the weekend it was reported that this has been the lowest turnout ever.
But if you-
3%, only 3% of the
Yes, who
persons
were called.
called for jury duty showed up.
Yeah, but if your Chief Justice keeps saying he want to put it away, then
But
he must
now you're
speak it.
cooking.
No, he must speak it. He's been
Absolutely.
speaking it
That's
for,
what-
and I said,
yeah.
remember, I said, be careful, because if you every opportunity you are getting, you are saying, we don't want this.
We don't
thing.
want you.
We
You're
don't
not
want-"
relevant to the process.
So don't bother come. So
Better justice can be obtained. More cost-efficient justice can be obtained without you. Let the judge be the judge. Now, I want to just speak on it a little bit because of the importance of the administration of justice in all the things that we do. And to those who got the notice that say you've been selected to participate in
Please
this
go.
process and you throw it down or
Please
you're
go.
debating
We
what
encourage
of
you.
it, we
Please.
want to encourage you.
please go. This is your skin in the game, as we call it, in regards to justice. We want justice. Become a part of the process of change.
I was hoping you were gonna, give a more
More
rallying,
skinny. But yeah,
pep
none. We need to
talk
no. We need
as
no.
a justice of the peace.
Yeah, we need.
What
no,
is the importance of the
no,
jury
this
in
is,
the administration of
this
justice?
is our opportunity. I count it a privilege to serve because you are serving your fellow Jamaican in terms of ensuring that justice is done.
Did you serve? Have you ever served
I've
as a juror?
never been called. Never been called.
Okay,
But-
and no, you can't. You're disqualified.
Because as a justice
As
of
a
the
justice
justice
of
of the
the
peace,
peace,
yeah.
yeah.
But we're saying to the people,
I'm
look,
disqualified too, but it's something that I would have loved to do. Maybe now that I'm not a lawyer.
we can't help. But I'm just
I
saying
could be
to
qualified.
across Jamaica and in who is hearing the sound of our voice, you hear us making declarations about justice. This is where your faith begins to take feet. in terms of bringing about the change that is necessary.
So let's analyze what this shortage represents for Jamaica. And I should just maybe say a word or two about the role of the jury in the administration of justice. So you know from the Levitical readings that no one should be convicted on the word of just one person. Witnesses are important. Witnesses are the ordinary men and women who see and hear something that touches and affects the commission of crimes, the abuse of people's rights, or just if whatever issue it is on which you are adjudicating. Witnesses are drawn from the general pool of the population. They are the ordinary persons like you and me who see and hear. The jury also is drawn from the ordinary persons who see and hear things. And the standards and the norms and the cultural practices in your society are expressed through the lives and the struggles and the understanding of the jury. The administration of justice, being an important part of national life and of any progressive society, requires the participation and the partnership between the technically trained men and women and the ordinary citizens whose standards are the standards by which certain things are judged. So, in a court of law, under our system of justice, the judge who is trained in law through specific academic processes is the judge of the law. And the jury is the judge of facts, what people believe, how they feel. Is this man credible or not when he says something? The judge and the jury work in partnership to administer justice in criminal cases, particularly. In law, our law, you can ask for a jury in civil cases as well.
True.
Yes, you can ask for a jury in civil cases where the opinion of the public is an important part of the adjudication of an issue. So many times a jury is asked for in defamation cases where someone's opinion or reputation, where someone's reputation is the subject matter of the dispute. If you have been defamed and you want to say that the public now sees me as this terrible person because of what Pastor Percy said, then let jury, let a public, a selection of persons from the public participate in how they feel you should be rewarded for this damage to your reputation. So jury cases are one of the cases in which defamation cases are one of the situations in which people will call for a civil, can call for a jury. But in criminal cases, the jury is an important participant to take charge of the facts and give a decision on it. So the jury is the one that will say, we believe he is guilty. Okay. And they do so after the judge has instructed them on the law. So jurors become, lawyers for a day on the legal issues surrounding the case that they hear, but they are the ones who make a determination on the facts. When matters are coming before a court that affect insults to the public morale and the members of the public who should sit and participate in determining whether or not it goes so or it no go so, when they don't show up, it is saying that the society has either turned its back on the justice system, and I'm wondering if it is that, or they've turned their back on the care and concern that they should have for their own society. So either way you look at it, it is not a positive thing, because it's not as if we have an alternative system for the administration of justice that is working. We've been looking at restorative justice. But, Pastor, no, you're saying it, and it is not to be ignored, because if you're not getting it one place, you must get it somewhere else.
True.
Because you can't do without it.
True.
We can't do without
an
effective system that settles matters that are of concern in the society. We can't do without it. So it must mean then that the escalating violence and abuse and so on has become our system of justice. You say chaos and confusion, and we have to reject that.
And that's how we reject it.
Yeah.
When people, and I'm bringing it back to principles that we have espoused on this program, espoused, meaning that people say, only just up there, you're not in terms of the reality that is happening. But I'm saying if you believe that something is so, then you begin to act accordingly. So we are calling out all Jamaicans. Please serve if you are called. Just say, boy, it's a waste of my time. No, it's not a waste of your time. This is your skin in the game, as we call it, if you're a sports person. This is your opportunity to bring about change and to become aware of what is happening. Because a lot of us are, in terms of those civics and so on, don't really know what's going on, with us hearsay. But this is your chance to see how it really operates.
So, to the point of what the Chief Justice has been saying,
No?
if the Chief Justice is reacting to the problems and saying, well, you know what, I'm not going to let the problems overwhelm me. I will carry on by myself and let me be the judge sitting alone. The Chief Justice is allowing his own, well, he's representing his own views on it. But until the law changes and we must decide, are we moving away from a system where justice is delivered, where a man is judged by his peers as part of the administration of justice? If we're doing that, then that should be done consciously, not by some sidewind policy of the Chief Justice saying things and then it comes to pass because no one fights for the preservation of something better.
Come to pass, speak it.
For my own part, I have very little confidence in the administration of justice as it is currently
being
done. Very little confidence. But I know that in order for the confidence to increase, there's work that we need to do. And I'm adding my voice to yours, Pastor, as you say to people, if you are called, participate and let your voice be heard, calling for the things that would make your participation meaningful. So, for example, we know jury service is free service, but please organize transportation for people so that they don't have to suffer showing up. When they're in the court facilities, make sure you have good bathrooms and the bathrooms are provisioned. Make sure there's lunch.
Yeah.
Make sure that at least the time that they spend in doing the service is not punitive.
Yeah, because you're punished for serving.
Yeah, you cannot be punished for serving. And those are things that the Chief Justice can look at. There's some kind of stipend that is given for various things. Make sure that it is paid out on time and so on and so forth. Well, I appreciate the engineer for giving me the sign, the 1 minute sign. Maybe we could mention the cost of the royal visit.
Yeah, 8 million versus 270.
Yeah, well, the royal visit, the recent one, we are told it cost $8 million because persons made a request for the information and it was disclosed. $8 million. But the Ministry of Information was careful to say it is the cheapest royal visit, I guess, ever. The visit for President Obama cost us $270 million in 2015. I just want to raise it. By the time you deal with security and the size of his entourage or whatever, we spent $270 million to hear President Obama say, yeah, Wagwan, Jamaica.
$270 million.
$270 million. I just raise it there. I just leave it in your consciousness that when these people visit us,
costs us something.
It costs something. It costs something. Let's take the break then, Mr. Engineer. I see you're ready. We'll be right back.
Best FM 100 on your dial. Keep
For a
listening.
better choice in all your electrical supplies, A. Authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B. Better service including free island-wide delivery. C. All major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales. Shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-382-528 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice.
There will be days when you're too tired to move, to drive, but you think you have to because your vehicle won't wash itself, right? But no, you don't have to visit a car wash. 123 Mobile Car Wash will come straight to you. Yes, you heard right. 123 Mobile Car Wash is offering services in Kingston and St. Andrew and St. Catherine. We shampoo and detail cars, trucks, offices, and more. No job too small. Call us at 876-631-3400. 123 Mobile Car Wash. We come to you.
Half a tree, 100, half a tree. Bossy, how you do I take taxi star?
Jano, I want to tell you, say, 2 months now, my transmission mash up, and I check everybody and can't hear nothing positive.
Yeah, hear me? You waste all that time I shop around and never call the experts. Winters Auto have them. Them have over 35 years of experience and them diagnose the problem and get back your transmission brand new. For them service excellent and efficient. Trust me, man. Yeah, hear me? Call them at 929-7040. Or go to them at 106 Maxfield Avenue, Kingston 13 and talk directly to the boss. Just tell them I'm me send you.
You big star. Yeah, man, respect my boss.
Yeah, try calling her, cause trust me.
Winters Auto Spares and Repairs, good afternoon.
Ah, what a relief.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good. It's better. But nothing beats. Best FM.
Welcome back. Today is Creation Day, but in its own terms, it is Iration Day. Today we also celebrate Beyond Daniel, a caller, what is it?
A faithful listener whose words of encouragement and whose comments on all kinds of political and philosophical things has been inspiring to us. Keon Brown. But Keon, you must remember now. Have I pronounced it right? I hope so. When you say it's your Iration date, and it's 64 and counting, I am understanding it better now. I think we've found the music. Have we found the music, Mr. Engineer? Okay, all right. So we're gonna celebrate your birthday in fine style with the music of your own choosing. Happy birthday to you, my brother. It turns out that you are the forerunner to my own son who was born on May 3rd. So we're bonded in that way.
Okay.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Mr. Brown. I was gonna get Pastor to sing, but I don't know.
I tell you all of the time.
He's thinking about it.
No, I have to think about it. My wife has said, don't do it. And I remember I told you last week when I was wishing one of my deacons at church, it was his 31st wedding anniversary. And I said to him, I sang him one of them, sang him say, keep your day job. That was his comment on my singing. So having said that, I was trying to make a hit him say, no. Keep your day job. But you sound better than me still, so you can sing him happy birthday.
Who, me?
Yes.
I did a very soft happy birthday singing this morning for Daniel because it was way early in the morning, so I'm all tapped out.
So the cost of the royal visit should be
Yes,
killed in August town, even though they have a Zozo.
Right, but no, don't forget that although the cost of the royal visit is cheap in comparison to Obama's $270 million in 2015, Jody just pointed out that The dinner, so they spent $8 million on the two people who were here for 3 days. And the dinner alone was half of it. $4 million for the dinner. So many are trying to find out what they ate. Should have just give them some roast breadfruit and ackee and saltfish, and maybe some red pea soup with pigtails. Something very Jamaican.
Which is
Don't leave curry goat, but the English are very fussy about eating goat. Well, apparently goats are petted. And with goat yoga being so popular.
Goat yoga?
Yes, where the goats stand on you and help you to be peaceful. I see at least two people who have not heard about goat yoga. Not Lloyd and not Jody. Lowell, you know about goat yoga. Yes, goat yoga. The same goat that we curry.
No, I thought when she said goat yoga, my mind went to that you're missing yogurt, but
yogurt, yeah. He says it cannot be yoga. Yoga.
Yoga. Okay.
Yes, you assume the position and the goat stand up on your back and all kinds of things. And you have to be still and at peace with nature. Okay. I did mention the 3 persons who were killed in Augustown on Saturday morning, attributed to gang violence, but many of us remain concerned that these atrocities are taking place with the presence of police and soldier in small communities. Come on.
Have you understand the logistics in terms of the terrain in Augustown? You've been to Judgment.
I've been to Judgment, yeah.
But you know
and I know the back gate from Uwick, Dust Bowl.
Right, but beyond that, you go down and then you have people live up and there's a river that you have to cross.
I've been by the Judgment Yard is near the river.
Yeah, so it's in terms of policing it can be a difficult thing, but if you really want it.
But these are okay. So these boys were sitting outside their gate. It's about 4 a.m. in the morning. They were playing games like domino, ludo, whatever. If you are on duty, I can understand that challenge if it is, the middle of the day or late afternoon, 7 p.m. rush hour, when there's a lot of movement and so on. But when you are policing an area and you know that things tend to happen within certain hours, and there's one group of people sitting outside wouldn't you be kind of in the vicinity? I don't know. It's just
you have to do.
Sense telling
It's common sense. But hear what is happening now.
Whatever patrols you do, whatever you do, you would be. If people are out, you would be near where the people are, because that's where the trouble would go.
Yeah, the trouble is, and some of the time it happened.
And it is that some people, it was a drive-by kind of thing. Car drove by, open fire. Nobody to witness it. The lady come out and the child
children are dead.
Yeah. All right.
It can be fixed.
Mr. Chuck Cameron, let me tell you, I love his name. Chuck Wemeka Cameron, attorney at law. He has been an expert. He's been developing his expertise in the area of data protection and, information technologies for some time now, and I would not hesitate in attributing to him the expertise that has grown out of his efforts. He's reported in the paper as saying companies who wish to become compliant with the data protection standards need to begin implementing those systems now. Of course, it just makes sense no matter what industry you're in. If a change is coming, you got to prepare. You don't want on the day when the law says you need to be encrypted in this way or that way, that you are still just trying to figure out what is the software, who can install it, how do I train my staff, and so on and so forth. And he's reported in the paper as emphasizing that it needs to be now. Interestingly, he will be with us on Thursday for as a part of our digital literacy series. We're very pleased that our contributor or title sponsor, no, they're not the title sponsor, their name not in the title yet, but JPS has come on board for that series as well. But their participation will focus on customer education or consumer education. And your good friend and mine, Winsome Callum, will join us. She will be the first participant in that segment on Thursday when we are at the Ligani Club. Chuck is also going to be there. to speak on matters pertaining to data protection, privacy, and what else, Jody? I see you saying something.
So what you're saying to me then is that
All right, so yeah, we were geared up to have Chanel and Dainty spend the morning with us, but I got just the most charming note apologizing there's been a crisis. So we'll have lots to occupy us on Thursday. Chuck will be with us. On the consumer side, those of us who are committed to understanding and getting the greatest value out of the communication network and understanding what is data, what protection you're entitled to enjoy, who you need to go to where, and so on. Please stay tuned and understand that those changes are meant to protect customer information. The truth of it is, we give up a lot when we go online, because in order for us to enjoy some of the great experiences in the digital world, we have to enter into agreements with those who run that world.
And
And
they say,
just
I
like
agree.
in the real world,
I agree.
just like in the real world, we give up a lot.
Yeah, we
I
don't even
remember
know.
our caller from Portmore saying him stand and watch people opening up their bags so people can search it up after they've done spend money in a store. We give up a lot of rights in the real world just for the convenience of navigating it in a more comfortable way. So it is in the digital world. But it's good that we develop an understanding of it, because as consumers, we can find that our identity is stolen and used if you have credit card. I never used to worry about it, because at the start of things, I was deathly afraid of any purchase online.
True.
I never want to use my credit card to do nothing online. I was just very afraid that things would go wrong. I wouldn't get the goods and they have the money, or the goods would be non-compliant and they have the money, and I have to try and figure out how to get it out of the cloud. Never want to have that headache.
Get the money out of the cloud.
Yeah. Well, because you tap a button and the thing disappear from your account. And then you have to wait in the hope that the person on the other side will
Receive
send
it,
it
right.
back.
Yeah.
But we talk about covenant in the constitutional framework. There are some serious covenants that work in the online world. Serious covenants. And I experienced the benefit of it on at least 2 occasions. The first time I ordered a product, when it came, it was broken. I said, phew, what do I do? One, I was looking forward to it, so now, I'm inconvenienced. Then it was Lowell who said to me, write a report on it. Of course, I wrote to the people. I said, the thing is broken. They're a little slouchy in responding. And then I gave them a review. The pen is indeed mightier than the sword. I spoke about their poor service in not responding to my complaint. I spoke about the inadequate condition of the thing, and I gave them a terrible rating. I not only got I got a refund, and I got a gift, and they begged me to take down my review.
They beg you?
Please, in some very awkward English. They wrote me and begged me to take down the review. And then when the gift arrived, and they gave me like 6 glass water bottles that you see me bring one of them here occasionally. When they came beautifully wrapped with a replacement thing and I'd got my refund, I said I will not only take down my review, but I will now write a proper review focusing on your customer service and how generous you were in making amends and in ensuring that your customer was happy. And I did. Twice that happened to me. That's the covenant online. Earl Brown has suggested a menu for the dinner. All right, listen up. This is a man who knows what royalty eat. Earl says, for the royals' visit, pheasants, venison, truffles, and caviar were imported for the dinner. And to wash the dinner down, well, just to use the word wash, it's not right. And to wash the dinner down, cognac and champagne. I wonder if he actually read from their menu. Because this sounds...
It sounds like it.
This sounds quite real.
Bird must behave himself, man.
Oh boy. Oh yes. So now we have the budget for the royal dinner for those who are curious. The state banquet at King's House. So they didn't have to pay for the venue. And they wouldn't have had to pay for the china. You think they should use china? King's House supposed to have good china. $4.1 million for transportation, fuel, rental of vehicles, toll charges, etc. So they had to pay the toll. Oh, $422,000 for the infrastructure and decor, the portable toilets called portalets. New word. Cleaning services, decor, rentals, etc. $804,000. And I saw the chain link fence at Trenchtown. I think that fence was there before. For media and support staff, $122,000. Do you notice how the people party start get cheap? Media and support staff, $122,000. Publication and communication services, 300. This was to print programs, labels and stickers and promotional electronic banners, $302,000. For the cultural performers, Trenchtown Culture Yard, $50,000. We need a moment of silence for that. $50,000 to the dancers, the only people who provided something that involves sweat and cultural ingenuity. The only people who actually gave of themselves, them get the lowest bit of money. The only thing that is lower on the bill is the contingency of $31,000. $50,000.
We're in a time of austerity.
Yes, but the banquet of $4 million for people who don't eat that much.
Sorry.
Because they both look quite skinny. You couldn't say that anyway. This budget and expenditure is an indication of how we see things and who we are. We gotta change that. We are changing that. Let's get out of that. All right. What is Conrad saying? Conrad says, Minette, that is the same feeling today with everyone who owns a credit card. It just have trace which carry power, and business will suffer if they don't comply with the credit card companies. Oh boy. Oh, Kevin Brown wants to know if it's Russian caviar flown here dodging bullets from between Russia and Ukraine. Man, $50,000 for the Trenchtown dancers is a heartbreaking thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Thursday we will shift and look at what it is that we need to be aware of in this digital environment to find the strengths in it and to use it to our best advantage. Now, the last thing coming out of the weekend newspapers, Justice Patrick Robinson, son of the soil, who has served as an eminent jurist in the International Court of Justice. He did part 2 of an article which is titled "The Irrelevance of Readiness for Independence." This notion that we are not ready or we need to be ready or that readiness is an issue is something that, I could understand the subject matter. I've heard people saying, Jamaica not ready for this or Jamaica not ready for that. You've heard it. People condemn
all the
us.
time.
Jamaicans condemn us for not being ready for all kinds of things. And so Justice Robinson has been writing on the irrelevance of readiness. In other words, that's not a relevant consideration. The truth of the matter is, it's the same thing we say. We talk about, are we ready for children? Are we ready for marriage? Well, yes, truly. Readiness is very relevant.
You can do some
for
preparation
some
for
things.
marriage, but
Yes.
in most things that come, I'm suggesting that your life and the experiences that you have had prepare you for decisions when they come. You might not think that time for doing that has come, but all of the process of what has happened up to that point has been a process of preparation to seize the opportunity. That's what it's about,
Yeah.
seeing what is happening and seizing
Seizing
the
the
opportunity and says, there are a lot of things that are not in place, but this is an opportunity. Let me seize it with my 2 hands and then continue to prepare for it. What do you think?
No, I agree with you. And there is the fact too that there are some events for which you will never be ready. You can't be ready for them because they're not within your control. You can't predict the timing. You can't predict how they will come up. And many times too, you can't even predict how you will respond.
Yeah.
And all of life's preparations really is to have you in a mode of being open
Yeah.
to
What
live
comes.
through the experience and just survive it.
Yeah. And I often say to people, the important thing is how do you respond when things happen to you, when things come with you. And that is related to your mindset, in terms of transforming your mind to have ideas, to have thoughts that speak to where you want to go. How do you see yourself? So this thing of self-esteem and self-concept is very, very important. Even when you upscale it to what happens in our nation, we have to do a lot of things that are preparing our people's mind for the opportunities that come. And we've not done that well, especially in our education system, because on the front page, educators struggling to get students interested in exams. Oh Lord.
You know, that is one of the partnerships that I'm so glad educators are struggling, because they think that exams are something that you impose and you throw it down there to the students. Well, exams just empty words on paper if the student's not interested.
Yeah. So
And the truth of the matter is, you then discover who is really in charge of things.
Yeah.
Because if you're preparing something for somebody who don't want it and not interested in it and can't relate to it, it makes a mockery and it creates futility of your life's work.
Yeah.
If your life's work becomes something that people walk on, then you got to reassess.
And so they have to dig deeper to find out, because for a lot of students, they are not able to connect what you're teaching them with what is happening in the real world.
And especially after you go through a pandemic and you begin to sort of narrow down your choices to what's truly important
to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So back to Justice Robinson's writings. If you get a chance to read it, The Irrelevance of Readiness for Independence, just note what he says about the negotiations for independence. He talks about the process that you go through to finalize your arrangements for independence. And then he makes mention of, he cites a decision of the International Court of Justice. I think it's in relation to Mauritius and whichever colonial power, the French, possibly, that had colonized them. And Mauritius should have given some archipelago, a piece of land, to the French in the negotiations for independence. And some dispute arose which went to the ICJ, and the International Court of Justice made a finding that no true negotiations, and I'm not quoting it, I'm summarizing it, no true negotiations can take place between the dominated or the colonized entity and the colonizer. An unequal bargain, if ever there were one. So you know, when the people are in possession of their land and refuse to give you the spit of land that you had said to them, when I leave, I'm taking this. When you can't lift it up and carry it, and they refuse to give you authority over it, you cannot come to the court and say, we made a contract and I'm holding them to the contract. That one little finding is what I've picked out to share with you this morning. Because as we prepare for this final leg of the independence journey, I say final leg, just referring to
Constitution,
excising the Queen from our constitutional arrangements. Please don't pretend that it's a negotiation between equals or that there's any negotiation at all. Do what we have to do. That is what we need to do. We must do what we have to do without feeling that we are beholden in any way. This would be our first truly independent act, meaning we take a decision without fear or favor of how it will look or how it will be received by those outside of Jamaica. I mean, I don't I'm not referring to the diaspora. I'm really referring to the United States, to the British, to the European
Belgium,
Union,
yeah.
any of the colonizing nations that may say, "Oh, why are they behaving like that?" This must be our true act of independence. And I say it in the same breath as I support every BV Islander who is standing with a picket and saying of this attempt to return them to direct British rule, it should never happen. Should never happen. It should never happen. Right now, the people in the British Virgin Islands who have been condemned as being corrupt and too corrupt to handle their own business, that Mama Queen need to take them back under her skirt. They are, yes, I received a report on, like over 300 people just spontaneously, like a flash mob. Okay, in BVI, 300 people are
There's
plenty.
enough people in, we know.
When I look at it, I say, what? Jamaica don't even mount protests like that anymore. And it's just cropping up all over the place. And I'm pleased to see that the other Eastern Caribbean states, the OECS, that they have spoken out and said, no, it should not be. Yesterday, I was saying that they share a court already. OECS is saying we already have shared institutions. We will be a part of the process to help our brothers and sisters in the British Virgin Islands to enter into independence from the monarchy. I get goose pimples when I speak of it. Yeah, you see it?
Yes.
Yeah, because it is so important that we do this, that we do it for ourselves, and that Jamaica don't find ourselves lagging in the backwaters because of greedy and corrupt politicians and leaders who don't have the courage or the moral fiber to take a decision that is in the interest of the people of this country. My son, who turns 15 today, when I pray over him this morning, I said, may you stand tall in this country as a leader, having the heart of your people always in your contemplation.
Amen. Wow.
Your turn, Pastor.
But I agree with what you have said in terms of time come. That's what it is. Time come to take a hold of your future, of your destiny. You've changed your mind. You said this is not acceptable, and you have prepared yourself. Time has come to move into your destiny in terms of what God has said in Acts 17 and 36, that in his mind he has set time and places for nations to thrive, and that was in his intention from the very beginning. So we need to just step up to the plate and do what we need to do in terms of what is happening. So really
But Pastor, have you noticed there has not been one statement from Jamaica concerning what's happening in the BVI?
And then we're wanting to become.
And we want to be Secretary General of the Commonwealth.
Yeah. And it's not bad mind or anything like that. It's just standing up for what is right. And standing on the side of right. You can't lose at all.
Mr. Brown says, as a testimony from one of the cultural yard RAS, he said he hadn't got a penny. Probably it went to the Dons, as the statement was guns away.
Come on, me.
Mm-hmm. In other words, that money was, but the Dons, let me tell you, Jamaican Dons, are they that cheap? If you wanted to come and frighten the royals, wouldn't it have to cost you more than $50,000 to keep you away?
You're being very cynical, but it's a reality underground with a lot of things. I shared with you, just talking to somebody last week about what is happening underground in the communities, and I'm saying, wow. I just encourage our people, our women, as we approach Mother's Day, which is coming up on Sunday. Ladies, mothers, take back your communities. You are the influencers in your communities. Your young men,
we have to go back on the labor ward.
Yeah, man.
Rebirth.
Yeah, man.
Rebirth. All right, we got the signal. It's 8 o'clock. Please remember, after the break, we're going to open the lines. The numbers to call us, 619-1508, 279-8473. Please hold yourselves ready. We went through so many things this morning, but all in all, we're trying to prepare the mind and the spirit to go into serious intercession and warfare. And we're encouraging new callers, please, on the birthday for Mr. Brown and Mr. Lawrence.
Yes.
Let's get some new voices to join in the appeal that we're making to the citizens of this country. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Best FM 100 on your dial. Keep listening.
Hello, I'm Debbie Russ with the BBC News. The British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has addressed the Ukrainian Parliament by video link, the first Western leader to do so since the Russian invasion. In his speech, Mr. Johnson said that in standing up to a brutal aggressor, this was Ukraine's finest hour. He also announced a new package of military aid for Ukraine. Our correspondent Ben Brown reports from Kiev.
Boris Johnson appeared on a screen in the chamber of the Ukrainian Parliament, and he echoed Winston Churchill, telling MPs this was Ukraine's finest hour. He said it was an epic chapter in Ukraine's national story that would be remembered and recounted for generations to come. The UK government's latest package of support for Ukraine includes electronic warfare equipment and 13 armoured vehicles to rescue civilians from besieged areas.
The French President's office says Emmanuel Macron and Vladimir Putin are holding their first telephone talks in more than a month today, as Paris seeks a halt to Russia's war in Ukraine. The French diplomatic move follows reports that Russian forces have fired rockets at the besieged steelworks in Ukraine's Mariupol. Rival protesters have been demonstrating outside the US Supreme Court after a leaked document suggested it's about to overturn the ruling that legalized abortion nationwide. The draft opinion says Roe versus Wade, a landmark decision dating back nearly 5 decades, was based on exceptionally weak reasoning. Richard Galpin reports.
Anti- and pro-abortion rights activists took to the streets in Washington last night after news of the leak filtered out. It indicated the landmark Roe versus Wade ruling of 1973, which legalized abortion, could now be overturned. Abortion's been a divisive issue in the United States for almost half a century. The most recent opinion poll by the Pew Research Center, which was carried out last May, found that 59% of US adults believed abortion should be legal in all or most cases.
Heavily armed jihadist fighters have attacked a military base in Somalia where African Union peacekeepers are stationed. The number of casualties is unclear. Al-Shabaab militants said they carried out the attack. Here's our Africa regional editor, Will Ross.
The pre-dawn raid began with a car bomb targeting a camp more than 100 kilometres northeast of Somalia's capital, Mogadishu, where Burundian troops are based. There are reports of heavy gunfire and eyewitnesses saw weapons being fired from helicopters. The Islamist militant group Al-Shabaab has released a statement saying it's taken control of the base, but this has not been independently confirmed. The jihadist group frequently carries out bombings and gun attacks as part of its war against Somalia's central government. For more than a year, the country's politicians have been focused on a very divisive election. Al-Shabaab seems to have taken advantage of that by increasing its attacks.
You're listening to the World News from the BBC. Health officials in Iran say at least 8 people have died of alcohol poisoning in the southern city of Bandar Abbas. More than 50 others are being treated for serious side effects. Drinking or producing alcohol is illegal in Iran under Sharia law. 8 people have been arrested for manufacturing and supplying the drinks involved. The campaign group Amnesty International says 80 media workers in Afghanistan have been detained or tortured since the Taliban swept to power in August. Restrictions imposed by the Taliban have also led to many media outlets shutting down. Secunda Kamani reports.
Afghanistan once had one of the freest media environments in the region. Journalists did always face challenges in the country, but they've now sharply increased since the Taliban took control. Marking World Press Freedom Day, Amnesty International cited figures revealing more than 6,000 journalists have lost their jobs, with women particularly badly affected. It's partly due to the economic crisis in the country, but the Taliban have also detained dozens of reporters for periods of time, and journalists are wary of criticizing the group after being told their work should not contradict Islamic or national values.
The oil giant BP has reported a loss of $20.4 billion in the first 3 months of the year. The sharp drop was caused by the firm's decision in February to abandon its stake in the Russian oil company Rosneft following Moscow's invasion of Ukraine. Billions of dollars were temporarily wiped off the value of one of China's biggest companies following reports that a man with the same name as its founder had been detained. Shares in Alibaba in Hong Kong fell by nearly 10% after Chinese state media said a Mr. Ma had been arrested. Alibaba was founded by Jack Ma. State media quickly made it clear the reports did not refer to the company's founder, after which the shares rallied. BBC News.
For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales. Shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-3825-8 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice.
There will be days when you're too tired to move, to drive, but you think you have to because your vehicle won't wash itself, right? But no, you don't have to visit a car wash. 123 Mobile Car Wash will come straight to you. Yes, you heard right. 123 Mobile Car Wash is offering services in Kingston and St. Andrew and St. Catherine. We shampoo and detail cars, trucks, offices, and more. No job too small. Call us at 876-631-3400. 123 Mobile Car Wash. We come to you.
What should a taxi service do for you? On-Time Taxi Service is more than just a ride to the other side of town. They offer clean and spacious vehicles, reliable service, and promise to always look out for their customers. They'll come when you call and take you where you want to go on time.
From anywhere at all. You can call us on 926-3866.
We are something special on the road.
Half a tree, one and drive, half a tree. Bossy, how you do I take taxi start?
Jano, I want to tell you, say, 2 months now, my transmission mash up, and I check everybody and can't hear nothing positive.
Yeah, hear me? You waste all that time I shop around and never call the experts. Winters Auto have them. Them have over 35 years of experience and them diagnose the problem and get back your transmission brand new. For them service excellent and efficient. Trust me, man. Yeah, hear me? Call them at 929-7040 or go to them at 106 Maxfield Avenue, Kingston 13 and talk directly to the boss. Just tell them I'm me, send you.
You big star. Yeah, man, respect my boss.
Yeah, try calling, cause trust me.
Waiters Auto Spares and Repairs, good afternoon.
Ah, what a relief.
Vejan Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Hagley Park Road. Vejan Printers, your best choice in printing.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Welcome back to the Morning Connection, Pastor.
Yeah, so a lot of issues we've spoken about this morning. We continue to celebrate Child's Month. We continue to encourage our parents to be involved in the life of their child. Yesterday we spoke about the 4 parenting style, permissive, neglectful, authoritarian, and authoritative. And we would encourage our parents who are listening this morning become more authoritative in terms of how you parent your child, because that results in your child becoming very adjusted and being able to navigate the different challenges that they have as they interact with their peers, as they interact with you in terms of moving forward. On our front page this morning, there was the case of that little 6-month-old baby being traumatized. And we know that's very difficult, but we believe in a God who causes them to bounce back. And we know that child will grow up in a loving home, and love takes care of a lot of things, because love is represented by God Himself, and He's able to bring back things from the dead. You remember Lazarus? He's been in the grave 4 days and he stinketh. But that is the God that we serve and we believe in. We've spoken about the royal visit, 8 million verses, Obama in 2015 with 270 million. There's a lot of comment online. And again, we support the persons in the British Virgin Islands who are saying, no, no, no. We are not a corrupt people. Our leaders may be corrupt, but we're not into that. So we continue to encourage our fellow Caribbean people. I'm a Caribbean person, having gone to University of the West Indies and interacted with persons from all over. And I think I've visited almost every island in the Caribbean, you know, which is just a wonderful experience when we go and we can gel blend together as Caribbean people have a common heritage of slavery. So we look forward to what is happening. One of the things that concerns me is this ongoing media, what is feud between the police and the government in terms of their negotiations. We were supposed to get a ruling in June, but Miss Corporal Ron James has been very
This
militant.
is the
Yes,
40-hour work week.
yes, in terms of it is, and he says they've been very disrespectful. We can't be negotiating, and you're
changing the field.
Yeah, that don't make no sense. It's like you're playing football and you keep moving the goalpost. So yeah, you all right, you set up, we're gonna deal with that. Then the next thing, the goalposts move again. Which is what happened a lot in the pandemic and the whole.
And it's very much in keeping with what Justice Robinson said about when unequal bargains, when you're standing at the table with somebody who has the power to ignore you, what you say really, the deal that you strike is not much of a negotiation. Are we opening the lines, please, Mr. Engineer? I'm going to quote something from Patrick Robinson's article. I just pulled it up. He says, it is a matter of the deepest regret that in 1962, Jamaica did not seek a form of independence that would have separated us constitutionally from the British monarchy. We did not need to do anything in 1962 in order to achieve independence, and we certainly do not need to do anything in 2022 to achieve full independence. Full independence is our right. Yes, we certainly need to improve economic and other conditions, particularly for the disadvantaged black masses. However, none of this has anything to do with removing the Queen as our head of state. So we're kind of back to a point that I made weeks ago, and I will repeat it until it is driven home. We don't need to be looking at the same constitution that the Queen leave here and say, what is the process to remove her? Just remove her.
That's it. Argument done.
Remove her. And let anybody who think that we should do otherwise rise up and say so. I want to know who would take anybody to court, the same Queen's court, to say, you shouldn't remove the Queen. We're wasting time. We have a caller on the line. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Good morning, Sister Minute and Pastor.
Morning, sir.
If you will allow me, I'd just like to read 3 verses from the book of Daniel. It's Daniel chapter 6. It says, it pleased Darius to set over the kingdom 120 princes, which should be over the whole kingdom, and over these 3 presidents, of whom Daniel was the first,
and the chief
that
one.
the princes might give accounts unto them, and the king should have no damage. Then this Daniel was preferred above the president and princes, because an excellent spirit was in him, and the king thought to set him over the whole realm. Well, this, to be honest, is the first time I noticed that president gets referred to in the Bible, you know. And then a thought came to my mind about the Honorable Marcus Garvey, where he looked and he saw that the black people didn't have like a leader then. And he said he would be the one. And he did his work.
Yeah.
But also we have to recognize that there were persons who objected against him to say who gave him that authority to be the leader, you know? Now, I noticed there's a presenter on your station there who take a particular thing and deriding Sizzler as the president of the indigenous people. To what I see, you know, I didn't see anybody else representing that office.
Yes.
And furthermore, I don't see him as the person who is going to try to take away the, what you call the authority of each African-minded set of people who some looking to return to Africa, others looking more or less to get rid of the colonial things in Jamaica and set up a government in Jamaica of the people. I really don't think this is the time where we should be trying to tear down each other who, in essence, are working towards the thing of removing this monarchy business where cause all of us problems.
Yes. Well, you know, in your own statements now, you have acknowledged that it is quite the nature of things that when a man is exercising authority, others will oppose. And what you are doing is the other right thing. When you see something good taking place and people fighting against it, you stand up and you defend. So I would say all is in order, because it is really the nature of things that when a good thing is taking place, you know, from whence cometh those tears.
Somebody would say it's the nature of the beast, my friend.
Yeah.
When you're in leadership and you're doing well. Because one of the things in regards to what you just quoted from Daniel 6, you know what they said about him? He had an excellent spirit, and they couldn't find any complaint against him concerning the administration of the kingdom, but they could find no reason for accusation or evidence of corruption because he was faithful. In the Amplified, it says a man of high moral character and personal integrity, and no negligence or corruption of any kind was found with him. And this, guess what they say after? The thing and the human thing we're not going to find. They will go look for something, and they says, the only problem we are going to find is anything to do with the law of his God. That's the only thing we want them to find against me.
So they went spiritual, and they attack him same way.
Yeah.
Well, Brother Percy and Sister Minnie, it's my few words that I give much time.
All right.
Listen, man, your words are well received, sir. Have a great day.
You too, my love.
Thank you. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Good morning, Miss Minute and Miss Pastor.
Good morning, sir. How you doing?
You come like this, the man, me come out too hard, brother.
Come out too hard?
No, man, this is solution, man.
Yeah,
Okay.
so why you say you came out too hard?
No, man, you're talking the right things,
To Pastor note. To Pastor, to have a healthy home.
Yes.
It's best when your husband having a project going on, him consult the wife, don't?
True. Because the two of you are responsible.
And even have a meeting with the whole family to keep them.
Yes.
True, that is important. I've learned that the hard way.
And when most husbands try to bypass the wife, why you believe if him know the wife now not give a content for what him gonna do, don't?